Hello and welcome to Legalbytes. If you're new here, my name is Alita. I'm a lawyer licensed in California and DC, and on this channel, we explain the law one bite at a time. We don't give legal advice, but we do talk about how the law works and try to look into our crystal ball to see how things might turn out. If you're enjoying this on YouTube, we'd love it if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with friends, all the great YouTube-y stuff. And if you want to listen while out and about, we're now offering our live streams in podcast form where you can leave a rating and review. Links are in the description below, as well as to our clips channel where you can find some of the best clips taken from our live streams. Otherwise, if you want to catch me elsewhere, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so on Locals, Patreon, or by becoming a YouTube member, or by buying some really awesome Legalbytes merch. Again, all links are in the description below. And with that said, let's get into it.
All right, you guys. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you some tea. Some tea just happened in the courtroom. I've gone back and I've paused it. We're gonna want to see this. Remember how they were showing text messages? They were going through phone numbers and all this kind of stuff. And folks were like, "Wow, doxed." I hope that people have changed their phone numbers. And I was like, yeah, of course they have. I don't think they did. I don't think they did. Now the court is pissed. Because, well, let's just pull it up. Okay. This was like a brief little thing. But yeah, let's watch this.
And I'm absolutely bothered that someone went on court TV and then took pictures of the exhibits. So you're not on court TV, period.
Talking about the text messages that were just shown before lunch.
For the rest of the trial. All right, thank you. All right, let's call.
I mean, anyone.
Did we get everything straightened out? Counsel?
So it sounds like someone took photos of the exhibits, which anyone, like, it's out there, right? Court TV, I think News Nation's also streaming it. Plus all the people like me that are streaming and commenting on it. You can't, like, it's out there, right? You can't go back and edit it, especially when it's a longer stream. Like, YouTube allows you to go back and edit a live stream afterwards, but only if it's like up to a certain length. So the problem is that information is now out there. People have been doxxed. It does seem like this is on the state. This is really on the state for not redacting. Well, also on the defense, honestly, for not looking first at these text messages and seeing, okay, this phone number has not been redacted from this. None of these phone numbers have been also, like, I mean, just either side. This is such amateur hour, in my opinion, that I had assumed that all of those numbers were dead numbers and that's why they just showed the numbers. It's mind-boggling. Anytime you publish information, whether it's just to the courtroom, whether you think the court TV is going to be taking, showing them or not, like, it's just basic attorney 101 that, like, you redact those before they're published to the public. So anyway, so she's really pissed, understandably. Folks can just take screenshots from any of the live streams that have happened from the morning session. But she's going to go on now.
I don't want to rush it, but did we get that straightened out, or do you need more time?
Thank you.
Okay, wait. Also on the court TV, also on the record, another order is that court TV is ordered to redact the phone numbers that were put up on the text messages.
How?
Because their phones are blowing up. And the solution obviously is redaction from here on out. But I'm going to say that the people that were taking pictures contributed to that.
How are they going to redact it after the fact, after it's already published to the world? I'm not sure this judge quite understands how live streaming works. Woo. Okay. I think we can probably go live. let's see here. Okay. Yes, we've got. Yeah. I just don't
On the
see.
Elmo, what was previously.
Okay, 1 second. Sorry. Let me get. And I'm gonna.
Oops.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it real quick. Because there were a couple things that happened also. Let me see here. This is. Why is this not showing up? Oh no, there's normally a separate tab, like automatically there'll be some things that get starred. One of them is just because gifted five more memberships. I can't pull it on the screen. I'm so sorry, but I at least noted it earlier just in case. I'm really glad that I did. Just because, thank you so much for gifting 5 more memberships to Bike Club. So Monica Vecchione, Chelsea Ellen, Angela Eric Newman, GM 432, and Next Time On, you all have been gifted memberships. So welcome back to Bike Club. Welcome, enjoy, and thanks again. And thanks again to Just Because for that gifted membership. And also Joe Tyson, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to Bike Club. Yeah, okay, let's get started. And going back. And thank you for letting me know about the sound. It's probably because I'm so close to the mic right now. I'm gonna distance myself a little bit again, and then we should be good. But let me know if there's still sound issues. Okay. All right, let's continue on with the actual coverage here.
Oops. All right.
We're back with Jason Hawks, the cell phone extraction expert.
We're going to go back through real quick some of those text threads that we had on the Elmo, and we're going to have you read the content, okay?
Yes.
So I'm going to place on the Elmo what was previously entered into evidence as State's Exhibit 96. Can you go ahead and just read that and remind us if this is a message that was sent by the phone or received by the phone?
Sure. So this was a message that was received by Ms. Gutierrez-Reed's phone from the Dadkula contact that says, get someone to show her a single action gun and how it works. They don't go off by themselves. And then beneath that is an incoming message from Mr. Bowles' phone to Ms. Gutierrez-Reed's phone that says, yes, I sent her this manual I got today also.
What's the problem?
Do you want me to just read them?
Just read them. Let's just, we gotta get this done. Thank you, sir. There's a State Exhibit 96 that I've handed you. Can you just go ahead and read it? Explain to the jurors what you're reading, given that they've already saw it.
Yes. So this is, this is Exhibit 96. The first page I've just read. The second page.
And Mr. Hawks, what's the date of these conversations?
Sorry, this is December 1st, 2021. The second page starts with a message from Mr. Bowles to Ms. Reed that says, I think I sent this with an attachment. Beneath that is an outgoing message from Ms. Reed that says, yeah, honestly, that gun won't go off unless he fully cocked it. And then the final message on that page is a message from the Dadkula contact. It said, if someone could just show her, she could see a transfer makes no difference. The final page starts with an outgoing message from Ms. Reed that says, yeah, we got some that just aren't long barreled. They're the same thing. And then finally, message from the Dadkula contact that says exactly.
Joe, thanks for becoming a YouTube member. Welcome to Bike Club. Welcome back to Bike Club.
95. And would you go ahead and do the same thing with 95?
Certainly. So 95 is from November 8th of 2021. And the first message is an outgoing message from Ms. Reed that says, hey, I need you to check out my boxes and send me some pictures of our boxes of dummies. The second page starts with an incoming text from the Dad Kila contact that says, will do. And then beneath that is another incoming text message with a photograph.
And at my request, did you separate that photograph? Did you isolate that photograph for me?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to show you what's been previously entered into evidence as State's Exhibit 69, and we're going to do this the quick and old-fashioned way. Can you see that?
Yes.
Sorry for the dirty screen. What is that?
That is the image that was sent via text message, via iMessage to Ms. Reed's phone from the Dad Kila contact.
Thank you, sir. May I approach? Mr. Hawks, in addition to doing some work on Ms. Gutierrez's cell phone extraction, did you also do some work on cell phone extractions from some other folks involved in this case?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember their names?
There was a woman named Sarah, I don't remember her last name,
Okay.
and a gentleman whose name I don't remember. But
Okay.
I'm sure I would if you refresh my memory.
Well, I'm going to leave that to defense counsel, and I will pass the witness.
Thank you.
All right, cross-examination.
Mr. Bowden.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
You mentioned you did some other extractions. Does the word Dave Halls ring a bell?
Yes,
All right, is that the other phone that you looked at?
correct.
All right. And Judge, if I can publish just to his screen, please.
Can I just be standing here
Sure.
so I can see what's on the screen? Is that okay?
You can stand there, stand here, wherever you like.
It'll be quicker to do it this way because then I can publish it if the judge admits it.
Okay.
Here, why don't I just stand here
Yeah.
and I'll look over your shoulder? That's perfect. Sorry.
Yeah, that works. All right, so what are you looking at?
Looks, you just what's on that screen and what's on your screen is different. I'll show you. I don't mind. No, sir.
All right, what are you looking at here, sir?
I'm looking at the first page of a PDF of a Celebrite report that was done by the New Mexico RCFL,
All right,
of the phone that you just asked me about.
all right, and can you scroll down to the second page?
Yes.
All right. So what is this device information? What does this tell you?
So this is a summary of the data that is in this PDF report. It involves chats, native messages, which are, in this case, iMessages, WhatsApp, emails, timeline, and then data files, which include images and videos.
Okay. Is there information about deleted information on this device?
There is.
Can you tell us about that, please?
So the report indicates that there's one deleted iMessage and one deleted WhatsApp. In addition to that, there are 5 deleted emails, and there are some deleted images, but without knowing what the images are, I don't know if they're things that he actually deleted or if they were cached images that got purged.
And how many images are notated on the report as being deleted?
I'm sorry. I didn't bring my
Yeah,
glasses.
help yourself.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I missed whose
So
device this is supposed to
There's
be.
152,237
so I'm guessing it's Seth Kenny?
images total, and there's 1,438 that are deleted.
You can just hold on to that.
And then 3,214 videos with 7 deleted.
Okay. And when you're looking at a device and you see that something's been deleted, what does that actually mean? What is that telling you?
It means that it was deleted and recovered. So if I delete something from my cell phone and it's overwritten, or that memory is actually purged,
Okay.
then it's not
Thanks,
recovered
guys.
and there's just no evidence.
David
of it.
Halls.
So
Okay.
this shows that there were items that were deleted and recovered by the program.
All right. And you have no way of knowing if additional things were deleted because it just wouldn't be extracted. You wouldn't have the information to look at.
Correct.
All right. And in your experience, do you know that sometimes happens?
I know that it can happen. I mean, if it's not there, I don't know that it was there to begin with and was deleted, but it certainly can happen.
David Hall is the assistant director. He
Sir,
pled.
if you can go to the
He took a plea
emails
deal
page.
in this case.
What
He was also
document?
charged.
I do.
All right. There's about 20 emails in Mr. Hall's extraction here. How do you know that these are actually his emails?
So there's incoming emails. The top one is an incoming email. It just to avoid what we had earlier, it's to a Gmail address.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that account was installed on the phone, and this is an email that was received by his phone, signed into an email address associated with him.
Okay, so that physical phone has access to that email address.
Yes.
Okay. Judge, I would move to conditionally admit defendant's exhibit O.
Counsel approach.
All right. So this is again with the pointing a finger at someone else and the things they may have done, things maybe deleting evidence from their phones. With a short sidebar. Defense doesn't look happy. Rob's cousin doesn't look happy here. But in case you guys didn't catch it, so they were going over a PDF of Cellbrite report of David Hall's phone, and there was information that was deleted off of his phone, and they could detect what he deleted. So there was one deleted iMessage, one deleted WhatsApp, 5 deleted emails with unknown images. They couldn't tell what the images actually were, but that there were some kind of images. So this is to open up some questions at the very least about David Halls and see if he maybe had some culpability here that is now getting blamed on Hannah Gutierrez-Reed. Jury does not yet know that David Halls was also charged and that he took a plea deal, that he's, he is guilty because he pled guilty, but he took a plea deal. He is expected to he's expected to testify at some point. He's on both of their witness lists. Now, of course, just because somebody appears on a witness list doesn't necessarily mean that they will 100% be called. You put someone on a witness list to give notice to the other side that you intend to call them. Basically, if you don't put them on a list, you can't call them in your case in chief. Maybe as a rebuttal, you can do that. Like that happened in the Depp trial when what's her name? Kate Moss testified. She wasn't initially, I don't think she was initially on the witness list. And so, but because she had been invoked in Amber Heard's direct or cross-examination, I can't remember which one, I think it was direct. They opened the door to Kate Moss's testimony, and so they were able to bring her in as a witness on rebuttal. Rebuttal witnesses don't have to be on the list because they've been basically, the door has been opened to their testimony if they're new witnesses, that is. So anyway, so you put them on a witness list that reserves them. You reserve the right to call them by putting them on a list. Doesn't mean that you have to call them. Doctor Who 8675309. 86753. Okay. Anyway, but the judge has to allow someone not on the list to testify, right? Generally speaking, only if it's a rebuttal witness. Not if it's in someone's case in chief, because you've got to give the other side notice of who you plan to call. It's just part of the pre-trial litigation process. I am Mr. Cheeseball Productions. Do you think this leads to stronger protection on sets? I would hope so. Honestly, I would hope so. I mentioned this yesterday, but I had a whole video on the Twilight Zone movie trial that happened. This is like one of my earlier videos that I did on YouTube, where 3 people died on set, and the LA County Police Department charged the director and some other people for their deaths. And they ended up with, I think, acquittals across the board. But this induced so much panic in Hollywood. All of a sudden they were having all these discussions about like, oh my God. So now a director can be criminally charged if something goes wrong and someone dies on their set. And so after that, there were some major changes that happened in the industry. Obviously, it's not like what a 100% change, because plenty of people have died on set since then, with firearms or in other accidents. But there was a change with like insurance and what insurance required in order to cover any production. How they would require to have one of their people on set that any crew member could go to if they were concerned about safety, because that was one of the big issues, and that was really why the director was charged in that case, is because there were plenty of people that had made complaints about safety, or had wanted to make complaints about safety, and were like either got fired or were worried about getting fired for doing that, for voicing those concerns. And so what they realized is that they needed was for people to have someone on set who couldn't be fired for that, and who they were able to go to. Also, Christopher Lambert, thanks so much for the super chat. I just like to hear my name on live streams. Wonderful. Thank you. But yeah, so I hope there are changes here.
Can you say with certainty that emails were deleted from Mr. Hall's phone?
We'll celebrate recovered deleted information. So yeah, so it was recovered from it's a recovered deleted email.
Okay. And the email that, apologies.
Yeah, Jerry Cornelius. This one, it was John Landis specifically.
Sir, I'm handing you
who was charged
what
as the
I've marked
director.
as Defendant's Exhibit P. Can you look at the first 2 pages of that document, please?
Yes.
All right. What is that?
This is an iPhone 11.
Is it Sarah Zachary's phone?
I'm looking for the device name.
Council approach.
And I may just be able to stipulate.
Well, no, I need you.
Sorry, I just realized my mic was muted. Doctor Who 8675309. It's interesting to me that no one is talking about the COVID policies that were on set. It's really, really interesting. I'm guessing that they probably polled a mock jury or something to see if that was something that was like valuable or not. But it's pretty wild to me that neither side is bringing it up as
The state will stipulate that
factor.
what Mr. Hawks is looking at is a cell phone extraction of the witness, Sarah Zachary.
Thank you. Judge, may I retrieve my?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, so with both Mr. Hall's phone and Sarah Zachary's phone, are the dates and timestamps listed in the extraction for text messages and emails? Are those accurate?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
So everything in our phones in these SQLite databases is stored in UTC by default. What Cellbrite does is it converts it to whatever time zone we want it converted to. In this case, Mountain Time.
Okay, so the foundational testimony you gave at length regarding my client's phone would apply with equal force to both Mr. Hall's phone and Ms. Zachary's phone?
Yes, these are things that are written at the time.
Okay. Did you have any other role in this case? Did you do any other work in this case?
No, my primary role was to help the prosecutor sort of sift through various pictures and that sort of thing to make sure only images that were native to the phone came in, not cached images or things that were beyond her control.
You mentioned on direct exam that there are some things that you don't get in a extraction. Would one of those things be something stored on a cloud, like an iCloud?
It depends. Are you referring to a document or an image?
Why don't you describe both?
The Age of
So if
Fabulous.
we have things on our
Thanks
iCloud,
for becoming a YouTube member.
typically
Welcome back to Bike Club.
It can be stored also locally on the phone and on the iCloud, or in the case of photographs, your phone may keep a little thumbnail that is a link to your iCloud account. So in that case, the original photo would not be on the handset. It would be on the cloud, but that thumbnail is essentially a gateway to the original image.
Okay.
Peter Wyatt, thanks for the super sticker.
If something is just on the cloud and you don't have a gateway, as you described, is there a way to actually go get that information?
You could get it with a search warrant.
Okay. Did you discuss doing any kind of search warrant to retrieve images or texts or video from Sarah Zachary that she may have in the cloud?
No.
No. Do you recall having a email discussion on October 12th, 2023 with Ms. Morrissey about this subject?
I don't. I know that Miss Morrissey, if you're telling me I had one with her, then perhaps I did. I sent her some various subpoena language. I don't remember this iCloud being part of it, but if you're telling me it was there, then I did.
Would looking at the email refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Like the approach?
Can I see it?
Sure.
Discussion about a subpoena or search warrant. Right, but what? This doesn't have anything to do with a search warrant or subpoena.
Okay, this is for refreshing recollection, so you've seen it,
Okay.
yeah.
See if you can refresh it.
Let me know when you finish reading it, please.
Yeah, the airtime is kind of killing me right now.
I assume I'm going to read all of it, correct?
Just the top one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If it's refresh your recollection, let me know, and if not, let me know.
Yeah, so this is what I was referring to as far as,
So you're going to give that back to him and he's going to ask
Oh.
if
Yeah.
this refreshes your memory to the question he asked you.
Yeah, did that refresh your memory, sir?
what I think I meant by that, and I'm not really sure, so I can't say with 100% certainty if I was referring to, I'm sorry, you have a question beyond that, or it refreshed my recollection of the conversation. Yes.
Okay. So on Miss Zachary's phone, you were requested to get text, videos, and photos from September 15th, 2021 to November 21st, 2021. And you indicated that there were some photos that were not on her phone but might be on her iCloud account. Did you have further discussion about how you might go obtain those photos?
No, I think what we're referring to the same thing. I believe my recollection is that I'm referring to the thumbnails. So if I were to download a thumbnail from a phone and you were to put it onto a television screen, it just gets blurry as opposed to the actual full-size image. That's my recollection of the full-size image may be on the iCloud.
Okay. And you said in here that there are no entries on the phone or image metadata, right?
Correct.
I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Redirect.
Okay.
Just real quick, Mr. Hawks. Is it possible for a person's phone to delete things without the operator of the phone intending for that to happen?
What do you mean specifically?
And I thought there was a discussion earlier when we were off the record that sometimes the phone automatically deletes certain things. That's what I'm referring to.
So you're referring to cached images.
Right.
So when we go to a website or social media, our phone will capture a series of images, and those images go into what's called a cache folder. And after a certain amount of time, that cache folder automatically will delete. But that's not from the person's camera roll.
And it wouldn't be from their email either.
Email contents? you mean?
I'm speaking about what Mr. Bullion was referencing with regard to Mr. Halls's deleted data.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
It wouldn't, no.
Okay, I just wanted to square that up. Thank you. I don't have anything further. Appreciate you.
You're excused.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
And just for the record, I'm going to reserve just in case we need
Okay.
to bring him back.
You're reserved. Don't talk to any witnesses.
The state calls Catherine Rowe Walters.
Do you swear affirm under penalty of law that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. All right, have a seat, talk into the microphone. Thank you.
Go ahead and state your full name.
Full name, Catherine Elizabeth Walters.
Thank you. And do you go by Rowe?
Yes, ma'am.
Alrighty. Ms. Walters, were you a member of the crew of the movie Rust?
Yes, ma'am.
And what role did you have?
I was the unit production manager.
What does a unit production manager do?
A unit production manager is the person on set who is making sure the day-to-day operations go smoothly.
Ooh,
All right.
tough.
And
That.
are you familiar with Ms. Gutierrez?
I am.
Your role on set, if a crew member needs something, would you maybe be the person they would go to?
Yes, ma'am.
So I want to ask you, did Ms. Gutierrez ever specifically request from you additional training time with Mr. Baldwin?
Not to me.
Did Ms. Gutierrez request generally additional training days as an armorer from you?
No, not for me.
We understand that there was a prop truck on the movie set, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
During the filming of the movie, before the incident that occurred on October 21st, when filming wasn't going on, so in the evenings or on the weekends, how was that prop truck secured?
There's a side door on that truck, and the back roll-up door are secured by padlocks.
And so that happened even prior to October 21st?
Yes, ma'am.
And who would lock the truck in the evening or for the weekend?
Either it would be the department heads or it would be the Teamsters who were maintaining the trucks.
And so were they combination locks or key locks?
I believe they were key locks, but I don't remember.
Can you tell us who had access, who had the keys, who could go get in the prop truck?
It would be anyone. It would be anyone who had the keys to do it. The department heads were the ones that usually had keys or combinations.
Who were the department heads? Can you just give us their names?
Sure. So for props, it was Sarah Zachary. For armory, and I believe that Sarah and Hannah shared keys. The other department heads would have been Sergey and a couple of others that I honestly don't recall, but they would have had keys to their trucks.
And they have keys to the locks that lock the truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you have a key to the locks?
No.
Well, did Ms. Gutierrez reach out to you a couple days after Ms. Hutchins' death and ask to meet you at the prop truck?
Yes.
And why did she want to meet you at the prop truck?
She was getting ready to head back home and wanted to grab some personal effects off the truck.
And were you able to provide her access to the truck?
Yes.
How were you able to do that if you didn't have the keys?
So after the incident occurred, we had the Teamsters pull all of the locks off the trucks and had a different set of keys so that the only people who would have access and the Teamster captain were the only two people who had those access.
And why would the Teamster have access to the truck?
Because they were the ones, if they needed to move it for any reason, do any maintenance, any of those things.
Okay. You have actual Teamsters that are working on the movie set that are maintaining the trucks
Yes, ma'am.
and driving the trucks.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when Ms. Gutierrez, do you recall the date that Ms.
Young
Gutierrez
forever?
asked you
Yes,
to
she's on the
meet
witness
at prop
list.
truck?
I do not.
Do you agree that it was just a couple days after the incident?
I do.
Okay. And do you know everything that Ms. Gutierrez took out of the prop truck?
I do not.
Did you see any of the items that she took out of the prop truck?
I saw a few things, but I don't remember exactly everything.
Can you just describe to us the few things that you did see her take out of the prop truck?
I remember a couple of gun belts, and I think I remember a couple of cardboard boxes, but nothing other than that.
Okay. And Ms. Gutierrez took these items from the prop truck prior to the police executing a search warrant on that truck. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. I will pass the witness. Thank you.
Cross-examine.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ma'am, in addition to Ms. Gutierrez-Reed, you allowed other people to get their personal effects as well, didn't you?
From the set?
Yes.
Yes.
So after the incident, the law enforcement cleared the scene and everybody thought it was clear, correct?
Correct.
And so you allowed multiple people to get their personal effects, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it wasn't just Ms. Gutierrez-Reed.
Correct.
Okay. Now, with regard to that said, I want to ask you, were you aware of the camera crew walking off
Yes.
and they were disgruntled?
Yes.
When did they walk off that set?
I received resignation emails the night before.
Okay. So this was the night before the incident, the night before the shooting.
Mhm.
And these camera crew, and how many of them walked off?
My memory says 6, which was the full team.
So the full team, the full camera crew walked off set. So for the set next day, you have to get a new camera crew.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and were you in charge of that?
It was a joint effort between myself, my line producer, Gabrielle Pickle, and our producers as well.
Are you and Miss Pickle, do you talk, or on the set, did you talk quite a bit? Did you talk daily?
Yes.
Okay, so, and I don't want to get into hearsay comments, what somebody else said, but were you aware that Miss Gutierrez-Reed had requested additional training of Mr. Baldwin?
For Mr. Baldwin, no.
Okay, you never had that discussion with her?
No.
But do you know whether Miss Pickle did?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay, so let's go back. You and a couple more people are trying to get the camera crew. Is that right? And did you get them for the next day?
We did.
Okay, you had to scramble. I mean, that night, is that make calls that night?
Yeah, I was making calls that night and very early the next morning.
The camera crew that walked off because they were disgruntled, did they come to the set that next morning?
They did.
Do you know what they were doing the next morning? Did you watch them or did you see them?
Yeah, I was with them for part of the morning. They were retrieving their own personal effects off of the camera truck.
Okay. Did you see any of them walk around to other parts of set, or were they just getting their effects?
From what I remember, they were just around the truck.
Okay. The prop truck, during the day, that was not secured during the days of set. Is that correct?
As far as I know, it was not secured now.
Okay. So during the day that filming goes on, and what are the hours of that generally?
Generally, we would start anywhere between 6 and 7 a.m. and go till 7 or 8 p.m.
Okay, so for approximately that 12 or 13-hour period, whatever it would be, that prop truck was open.
As far as I know, yes.
Okay. Theoretically, everybody on set could have had access to that prop truck.
Theoretically.
Okay. Now, you said that it was you and the Teamsters that would secure that truck after hours. Is that right?
It would be the department heads and the Teamsters.
Department heads and Teamsters.
Yeah.
Who was the person, the Teamster in particular, that would do that?
I do not remember his name.
Okay. After the shooting, do you remember who that Teamster, who that captain, I think he said was?
I would honestly have to go back through my notes. I cannot remember his name right now.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
And do you have your notes, or?
I do not.
That's okay. Okay. So you don't remember his name?
I do not.
Okay. Did you check every night before you left to make sure that prop truck was locked?
No.
Okay. Now, with regard to Miss Gutierrez-Reed, my understanding is that you never heard any complaints about her.
I did not.
Okay. And that was the entire time of the rest set.
Correct.
Okay. Let me ask you also, after the incident, after the shooting, I understand you went into the church approximately 2 days after.
That sounds correct, yes.
Okay. And you were going to remove media?
Yes.
Is that right? Were
Yes.
you trying to assist them to remove the media from the camera to see if anything had been filmed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that was with regard to filming of the actual shooting, correct?
Yes, sir.
And were you able to remove that?
I was.
Were you able to determine whether there was any filming?
Of the incident?
Yes.
There was no filming of the incident that was recorded.
Okay. Do you know whether anybody may have had access to that camera after the shooting and before you removed the media?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. When you said there was no filming, are you familiar enough with that camera system to know whether, if they're looking through the monitor, that it has to be rolling?
They can look through the monitor whether it's rolling or not.
Okay. So your knowledge of that camera is they can look through it without it rolling?
Correct.
Okay. Now, with regard to that prop truck search, you were present for that search, correct?
I was.
And you also present for that search was Seth Kinney.
Yes, he was there.
Okay. And do you remember why Seth Kinney there? Did he go to provide the code?
No, I think he was there because a lot of the firearms that were there were his. So he was there to be with the sheriff's office.
He was there with the sheriff's office when they arrived?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you know whether he was let into the prop truck? Do you recall that?
I do not recall.
Okay. Were you in the truck or outside when the search happened?
Outside.
Did you look inside the back of that truck?
I did.
Did you see that prop cart in the truck?
I do not recall.
Okay. Now, if it was in the pictures, would you have any idea why the prop cart was in the prop truck?
I am confused by your question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me ask you this way. If the prop cart was in the prop truck,
Uh-huh.
do you know who must have moved that into the prop truck?
I can make an assumption, but I do not know for sure
Yeah,
who would have
don't-
moved it.
No, don't
Yeah,
guess.
don't
make an
If you
assumption.
don't know, you don't know.
No.
Okay. All right. You indicated you got keys to the locks for the prop truck after the incident.
Yes, sir.
And you said the captain teamster had one too.
Yes.
Okay. Did you have the combo to that gun
NPC,
safe?
I think what
No.
you're referring to is actually a recreation.
Now, did
of
you
the
talked a
scene.
little bit about Baldwin and its safety training?
The
Did you
Hutchins
ever
family
observe
put out
that,
a press
training
conference with a video
was
like
done
that.
with Baldwin?
I saw it from a distance, but I was not close enough to hear anything.
Okay. Did you observe that Baldwin was not really paying attention?
His back was to me and they were up a hill. I do not know.
You don't know that. Okay.
No, sir.
On the set, after it was over for the day,
Mhm.
you're aware that Miss Gutierrez-Reed, Miss Zachary, everybody had to basically clear out. They had to leave. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So at the end of the day, it's fair to say they weren't accorded time to clean the prop truck because at the end of the day, they needed to go.
Correct.
And during the day, Miss Zachary, because this set's pretty busy.
Yep.
You agree with that? During the day, they're doing their prop jobs and their armor job duties, those kind of things, correct?
Correct.
So there's no time really to go back during the day, take a break and go back and clean everything. And there's not at night either, is there?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Hannah. I don't have any.
Redirect.
Ms. Walters, I want to be clear. Between October 21st and October 27th,
Mhm.
did anyone other than Ms. Gutierrez request to get items out of the prop truck?
Not to me. Not to my knowledge.
It was only Ms. Gutierrez that you gave access to the prop truck between the 21st and the 27th.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And on the movie set, did you guys hire security guards?
There was 24-hour security at the gate, but they did not walk around on set.
Okay. But if someone were to try to drive in,
Mhm.
they would encounter that security guard, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this location convenient to get to?
Not really.
Okay. I think you indicated on cross-examination that no one complained to you about Ms. Gutierrez. Do you recall saying that?
I do recall.
Isn't it true that one of the reasons that the camera crew indicated they were leaving was because of the accidental discharges from firearms on set?
Correct.
I'm going to object on hearsay. That would be the basis for that.
Well, I'm basically impeaching her because she indicated.
Council approach, just
Yeah. Speaking of objections, man, go up in sidebar. So I am Mr. Cheeseball Productions. So you impeach a witness by basically introducing a contradictory statement that they somehow have that they otherwise have already said somewhere, whether prior in their testimony or in some other statement elsewhere, or you introduce some other kind of evidence that basically contradicts something that they said. That's what impeaching a witness means. Typically, it's on cross-examination that an attorney is going to try to impeach a witness because it's just it's not your witness. So it is interesting that she's trying to impeach her own witness while on redirect, which I need to update the pinned chat. But she's trying to impeach her because of something that she had
Ms. Walters,
said.
do you know if one of the reasons that the camera crew left was because of accidental discharges on set?
They cited safety concerns, yes.
Did they specifically say accidental discharges on set?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. And Mr. Bowles asked you about the camera crew coming the following day to collect their belongings.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think you indicated that they stayed at the camera truck.
Mhm.
Is that right?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And is the camera truck and the prop truck the same thing?
No.
In your experience, do people on the camera crew frequently bring their own equipment, stands, cables, stuff like that?
Sometimes, yes.
And did they on the set of Rust?
Yes, they did.
Is that your understanding of what they were taking?
Yes.
During the day, when filming was going on, was the prop truck being overseen by a driver? A member of the Teamsters that you hired?
He might not have been there all the time, but he was around, yes.
Okay. And I want to just ask you a couple of quick questions about your experience. How many films or productions, even TV is fine, have you been the unit production manager on prior to this?
Prior to this, 3 or 4.
And did any of those other productions have an armorer?
They did not.
This was the first production you worked on that had an armorer.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. I don't have anything further.
Are they going to try a brief recross?
Just real briefly, I asked you
Oh,
earlier about,
okay.
you were
Recross.
saying that you don't remember, you couldn't see if Mr. Baldwin was paying attention during that training.
Correct.
You recall in your pretrial interview that you did indicate he wasn't paying attention?
I had been told he wasn't paying attention. I did not physically see it.
Okay, so.
Speculation.
And I don't want to get into
Hearsay.
the hearsay comment.
Sure.
So, but you didn't see it yourself?
I did not.
Okay. With regard to the accidental discharges, were you aware that there was a discharge with special effects?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're excused.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next
Okay.
witness.
In other words, that was not Hannah Gutierrez-Reed's fault, is what he's getting at. Pamela C. wants to know, in your opinion, do you think Hannah will take the stand? Initially, I wasn't thinking so, but I might need to watch her interrogation video because apparently it's really damning. If she made as many admissions as I've heard she made, she might have to testify, which is just wild because the prosecution will 100% bring in the incident about a motorcycle accident that her boyfriend died in after she handed him the keys knowing that he was drunk, allegedly, according to the prosecution. So it opens the door to talking about that incident and when she lied to the police about it and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. She might have to, but if so, it's going to be real painful. John Marshall, okay, so the other accidental discharges wasn't gunfire. I think it was from a gun, is what that's what my understanding is, but it was the special effects department that was using it. I still don't understand why she wouldn't be overseeing all use of a firearm on set. Like, was she there? Was she not there? I still have questions
Okay,
about
first
that.
of all, guess what? You need to approach again.
Yeah, I think the reason why he was allowed to do recross on this one is because the topic of accidental discharges hadn't come up at all, and that's like kind of a big point to bring up, to not be able to respond to. So I think that it seems to me that the general rule is no recross, but they will allow some exceptions. Yeah, Debbie Faison Cook, I like this judge too. Carolyn V, the sass of guess what, we need to approach again. Yeah, this judge is it's interesting because she doesn't usually show much of her individual personality from the bench, but that was kind of, I kind of like that. That was kind of silly. So I mean, the prosecution really wanted to nail in the fact that Hannah Gutierrez-Reed got into the prop truck a couple days after the incident.
I don't know if you think it's your lucky day, but we're going to break early.
Oh.
I think from the faces I see, it's a good thing. Okay. All right, but we have one
That is
question.
a very early break,
that we're
actually.
going to ask you to go back in to your room and answer this question. And then come back out and get dismissed, and we give you all the don't forget language. Okay.
Oh, are we
It'll
breaking
come
for the
clear.
day?
You're all going to go out. He's going to ask you that question. He's going to get your answer, and then he's going to give me the answer on that piece of paper, and then you all are going to come back in. Okay? All right.
All rise.
So we've got our first jury question. This is so fascinating. I've never seen this in a trial.
All right, you may be seated.
I'm Mr. Cheeseball Productions. Are they declaring a mistrial due to the phone numbers? I doubt it. That's not something that is going to cause a mistrial, in my opinion. NOV A42. What's a jury question? So in this trial, this is very unique. It will happen from time to time, but this is the first trial that I've watched where I've seen it. I've never, none of the trials that I've been involved in. I haven't. Anyway, I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this ever happen. But what they are allowing in this courtroom is for the jurors throughout trial, if they have a question that they would like to get answered, either to see a question asked of a witness or something. If they have a question, they can write it down on a piece of paper, submit it to the judge. And then the judge is going to determine whether or not that question can get answered, in which case they'll facilitate it. So we'll see how this works. Nomad Purple has a clerk of court been speaking to you. That is, of course, a reference to the Alec Murdaugh case. That's so funny. Flyers Gal 12. They had jury questions in the Maya trial. That's where it was. Mountain Princess 207. It sounded like the jury was asked a question, though, not the just had a question. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe, okay. Maybe I got it wrong. I don't know. We'll find out soon. I am Mr. Cheeseball Productions. Do you think the jury has been compromised? I've seen nothing to suggest that at this point. Patrick Masters Productions. I don't like juries asking questions. I mean, it definitely can kind of mess with someone's trial strategy as an attorney. I can see how it can mess with your trial strategy if you want to craft the conversation in a particular direction. You don't necessarily want to ask certain questions. Sometimes that can open up a whole can of worms. But what it can do also is to give you, as the attorney, a data point on what they're thinking, what they're wondering. Normally, in most trials, you kind of have to guess on like whether they're following you or not. You can try to read body language and eye contact and all that kind of stuff to see, is somebody with you, or are they not with you? Are they paying attention or not? That's usually like you can tell a little bit easier if someone's paying attention or not. But are they being convinced by your case? This kind of a process of allowing the jury to ask questions can potentially give them, or give the attorneys, another data point to be able to understand, like I said, like what are they focusing on? What are they thinking about? What are they concerned with? Because if there's something that you maybe didn't anticipate, that can also help you adjust your trial strategy partway through, which you would never have known if you weren't able to get those questions from the jury. So I can see it. I can see it playing both ways for an attorney involved in the trial, putting on that case. Draco Amy, I know they're not allowed to survey juries about what they're thinking and why.
We're waiting here for the jury, and Haven and I are, shooting the breeze, that it was being picked up on court TV. So, people knew that I walked my dogs when I got home, things like that. And so we just want to make sure we were all kind of squirmish on which things trigger us going on court TV. So that's why we went in the hallway. We didn't mean to be secretive. We just wanted to take a breather on feeling, a little, tight up here. That's why. Okay. So we wanted to share that because we didn't want to leave that impression. Okay. So they were supposed to write it down here, but you can tell me.
So do I need everyone to individually write?
No, I mean, just, let's see.
But couldn't they set up mock trials and get a jury so they can study how juries work if they can't for real trials? Absolutely. And this is something that oftentimes people do. Oftentimes attorneys do. They when they have a big case and they know it's going to get a lot of publicity, they will run it with some mock juries. Sometimes one of the big questions for a criminal case will be, should the defendant testify or not? Because it's a really big risk for a criminal defendant to testify. But if you run it through a mock jury and they very clearly show you that they are so not favorable if they don't testify, and they are way more favorable if they do testify, that's really good information before you actually go in with the high risk actual trial. I'm good. Judge's chambers. So this is her basically her office in the back. So she was saying that they had some conversation in the back for a moment because it was personal conversation. She just needed to take a breather. It was kind of nice of her to like let everybody know. She honestly could have just disappeared for a minute with someone and like come back. And I mean, so long as it's not the attorneys that are on the case, right? Or just one of the attorneys from one of the sides, right? That then you have an image of impartiality. But I think it was like with one of her court personnel that she like went back to like talk to or something, which like I feel like most people would just look at that and be like, okay, that's just business, you know? But yeah. That was very nice of her to like let people know like we're not trying to be exclusive, you guys.
And I'm sure you all are doing it as well, counsel. You're doing the same thing I'm doing, right?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
You're reminding your witnesses not to watch court
Yes.
TV?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I hopefully no witnesses are watching
And
court
we did
TV
get
or any of the
experts
commentary
that
streams, including this one.
No experts were included.
At the start, Your Honor, we talked about experts we needed to watch.
Oh, I didn't understand it that way.
I think that we agreed that our experts get to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine,
They
okay.
will
Yeah.
be allowed in the courtroom.
Yeah, okay, I misunderstood. So, anyone that's not an expert witness.
Yeah, that's
Please do
normal.
not get on court TV to watch, what has preceded you because we invoke the exclusion rule.
Yes. The exclusion rule, in case anybody is not familiar, is any lay witness that is testifying who has yet to testify and has yet to be released after testifying is not allowed to watch the any of the testimony, whether in person or online. This was how during the Depp trial, Gina Deuters, friend of Johnny Depp, got kicked out and all of her testimony was struck because she admitted to watching some testimony. It wasn't clear from her answer in hindsight whether she was talking about the Virginia trial or the London or the UK trial. But regardless, she admitted to watching testimony and she was struck. That can happen. A whole ass witness can get struck and it can be shocking when that happens. But this is why having a distinction for expert witnesses is very important because experts can watch everything. They can watch everything because they have a certain area of expertise. They're allowed to analyze all of the things to include the other experts' testimony, the other experts' reports, and everything else to render an opinion within the scope of their expertise.
Okay, jury, so like I said, it's your lucky Friday. So, you're getting recessed and please don't talk among yourselves or anyone else about the evidence received here in court. Don't be looking at any news media accounts or any type of account and anybody, and TikTok or whatever. And don't Google anything about the Rust situation, the production or anything, or about the trial, and don't do any research. Okay, all right. Have a very rested weekend. We'll see you Monday at 8:30. Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
All
And
right.
you know where to go on Monday.
Okay. I wonder, is there going to be any discussion in here after this? It'll be interesting. The major LDN, even if expert witnesses have yet to be certified as an expert witness, yes. I mean, typically, if somebody has some sort of lay perspective that they can give, in other words, if they saw an incident happen, if they were there during the thing, they're generally not going to be
Don't forget to
called as an
get those
expert.
exhibits. What were they? K.
Either they're qualified as an expert and
Okay.
properly
Thank
can
you.
testify
We're
as
in
an
recess.
expert.
Have a good weekend.
Wow. Okay, so this is going to be actually the end. Shorter day. Okay. So sorry. So like I was saying, someone who is testifying as a witness is either going to be a lay witness or an expert witness. If they have some sort of information to testify to as a lay witness, they're not also going to be provided as an expert witness. It's just straddling the line too much. So someone who's being called as an expert witness is going to be called for the purposes of being an expert, and that's it. If they can't get them qualified as an expert, they're not going to be able to testify. So then it doesn't matter if they've watched or not. Doctor Who 8675309, do you have to say why someone is an expert witness? Yes, you've got to go through a whole process of qualifying that person to be an expert witness. And so you've got to go through their experience, their education, their expertise to be able to properly vet them as an expert, to say that we can trust this person and their opinions. They're not just like some rando off the street just navel gazing and just, giving their opinion off of nothing. Now, I'll remind you that also it doesn't have to be that somebody has specific credentials or education or any of that stuff. They can just have a lot of experience in something and become an expert. I refer to this a lot, but My Cousin Vinny, from an evidence perspective, is probably the best movie out there in terms of like what a trial is like, what the rules of evidence are like. And I specifically remember my 3L year when I took evidence as a class. Our professor actually played the scene when he qualifies his girlfriend or fiance as an expert on auto mechanics, and goes through the process of her experience and how much expertise that she's got. And I don't want to autoplay here. Okay. And let me take this off here. Okay, cool. So goes through her years of experience and all of that, and qualifies her properly as an expert, even though she didn't like go to school for that or even hold a job for that, other than like working at her dad's garage. That is a perfect example of someone that you wouldn't expect to be like a traditional expert witness, but who could totally be an expert. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that question was. I'm bummed. I'm bummed not to know. Doctor Who 8675309. I wonder why so early. Maybe next witness is going to be a long one. I was thinking that maybe they would get into some conversations outside the presence of the jury, talking about like the next witness kind of fighting over some sort of part of their testimony or something. I don't know. Yeah. I'm good. Gina Duder's expert firsthand witness comment referred to UK. It was Barlow who was illegally online and in court, and she was removed. Clarifying the facts and truth of Gina was never. Yes, I do. That's why I said in hindsight it wasn't clear whether she was talking about the UK trial or the Virginia trial. And she didn't give that clarification when she answered. She didn't specify when she answered, and so it's easy for the judge to just take that and say, okay, you've admitted to watching testimony and you weren't supposed to watch testimony, without digging further into whether that was the UK trial or the Virginia trial. And yeah, there was foul play by Eve Barlow. 100% agree. So let's see here. Any other questions? So you can't just call in Vinny's girlfriend. Well, you still have to qualify the expert. All right, moving on down. Question might have been, do you want to go home? Could be. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. All right, folks. I think that for me about does it then. This has been a much shorter day, but I'm not going to complain about it. I will let you guys know that I will have you guys know that the live stream has been set to redirect to Ian's recap stream. So he's going to do a recap hours from now. I mean, it's for sure going to be hours from now. But so Ian Runkle from Runkle of the Bailey, he's been doing live streams to recap these days. So if you guys want to join for that, it should redirect you right over there so you can be in the chat early. But anyhow, that's there so that you guys can jump right to that after this. Also, Joe, thank you so much for the super chat. Your coverage is always great, and I can't wait until next week. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you so much. And yes, I can't wait until next week. Also, it's going to be interesting. This is a case that I'm not confident one way or another. I do think there is a lot of culpability to go around on this entire set. Really. I do think that for the defense, I mean, okay, I can give you guys some thoughts on where I'm at so far. I think that the defense has a huge problem in the fact that she only did a cursory check over the revolver before handing it to David Halls. That is one of the biggest issues here. One of the biggest issues. They need to provide a very clear and compelling reason for why she couldn't have done a more substantial and detailed check. Because other than that, I mean, even that might not be enough of an excuse for her culpability here. That's still, to me, screams criminal negligence, especially considering the fact that, well, I mean, as the professional on set who's managing firearms, you still are the person who should be considering the possibility that there could end up being a live round that makes it on set. That's why you have safety checks. That's why safety checks are supposed to be redundant. And so you have to assume that there's danger everywhere and you were the person to stop it. So, I don't even know if that's going to be enough to convince the jury here. But the fact that she knew that there were live rounds on set and then still did that cursory check, nothing substantial, before handing it to David Halls, is a huge problem for the defense, regardless of they're getting into the weeds a lot about the silver primer and not a silver primer, and some of these shake and some of these don't shake. One problem with that for the defense is dummy the cost of the error, right? We've got dummy rounds that can be mistaken for live rounds, but we haven't heard any evidence about live rounds that can be mistaken for dummy rounds. So let's take one of the dummy rounds that didn't have a hole in the side. When you shook it, it didn't rattle. It had a silver primer, and it happened to be a dummy round. The risk of that error is you think it's a live round and you set it aside and you don't use it for a scene, which is fine. Everyone's safe. There's no real risk in that kind of an error. No one has testified to there being an inverse situation where there's a live round that looks and sounds and feels like a dummy round. So like that's one of the big issues for the defense here. Like with all of these distinctions and stuff, is like if you were to follow the prosecution's guidelines, what they've presented as like the framework for how to tell the difference between a dummy round and a live round, you would end up with thinking that one or two dummy rounds is a live round. But the consequence of that is you don't use it in a scene. You set it aside as a live round. You don't use it in a scene. Everyone's still safe with that kind of an error. So, like, it's still, even with all of those distinctions, even assuming that the defense is entirely correct with all of that, if you check it using the prosecution's frameworks, no one ends up dead. If that makes sense. KM, can you explain why there would be live rounds on a set in the first place? I don't know why there were live rounds on this set specifically. I have heard some things. I have had like behind the scenes conversations with professionals who have worked on Hollywood sets with firearms a long time ago, like basically when this whole thing happened. And they said that a lot of times it'll be special effects. And this is probably, I'm wondering if the defense is going to harp on this a little bit more moving forward, because remember there was that point about the accidental discharge on of the firearm on set. And that was one of the reasons why the camera crew left. They decided to go. They were like, no longer, this is too dangerous for us. They and then on cross-examination, or recross actually, the defense came in and said, well, that was an accidental discharge by special effects, right? Yes, it was. And I think the reason for that is probably because one reason why they might have live rounds on set is to use it for special effects, because what I've heard, and I don't know if this is true, but this is what I've been told by someone who says that they are a professional in the industry, is it's cheaper. It's cheaper than using like CGI for effects on like firing into a building, for example. You just use live rounds, you film it, boom, you got your effects. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that was the case here. I don't know if we'll find that out, but it would be nice to know that. On the set of Yellowstone 1883, the defense has indicated that Fel Reed, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed's stepfather, and Seth Kinney, who owns PDQ Prop and Arms, and was Hannah Gutierrez-Reed's boss on set. They had worked on Yellowstone 1883 before Rust, and there they were doing live firearms training with actors so that they could understand what it looks and feels like when they fire a live round out of a live firearm. The recoil is basically what they're looking for, so that they can recreate it when they're using a dummy round, because the dummy round doesn't do the same effect. So so that could be, or just pure negligence. I don't know. We don't know yet why. Skyforge, who loaded the round into the gun? I don't know specifically, but I think it was Hannah Gutierrez-Reed. She did a cursory check of the gun. I don't know if she's the one that loaded it yet. I haven't heard that information just yet. Doctor Who 8675309. Why don't the dummy rounds have easily seen markings so they can't be mistaken? Because that's Hollywood, baby. They're trying to make it look real. Trying to make everything look as real as possible. That's part of the point, right? Hollywood magic. All right. Moving on down. Let's see if there are any other questions here. Yeah. I'm good. How and why Hannah is hired will be a clue as to how long-time experienced professionals, why she is in the line of requisition of props, i.e. live ammo, actually on set, when set implies dummies. I mean, I think she was a cheap hire for them, and that was a factor here, I think. What I've heard is that there was another armorer who either had been hired or was going to be hired, and he either refused the job or he quit the job because of the pay and what they were demanding. He's probably thinking his lucky stars. J-Lo, it's on the record. Seth and Hannah were texting. She wanted to shoot the prop guns with live ammo. Seth told her no. She said fine. She'll shoot them out of her own guns. I'm assuming we will see that in evidence then. I haven't like come across that in any of the hearings or any of the filings, but we'll see it. If that's true, we'll definitely see it. Link Journey, could Hannah's dual role on set be an argument for her defense? 100%. They're using it. They're absolutely using it for the defense, because they're saying that she was split. Her attention and time was split between these two roles. And in fact, production was trying to get her to prioritize the other role, the non-armor role. She messaged Gabriel Pickle asking for more time as the armorer, and she was denied that. Now, that's why, of course, the prosecution asked Catherine Walters. She was the I can't remember the specific name for her role, but she basically like managed the entire flow of production. And the prosecution asked her if Hannah Gutierrez-Reed had asked her for more time as the armor, and she said no. So that's a point for the prosecution, even if, you know, it doesn't mean that she didn't ask someone else, but the more people that Hannah asked would have been good for the defense. If she asked like 5 people, hey, can I please have more time as the armorer? Then that would have been very helpful for the defense. And just denied. I mean, that would have been great for the defense, but you know, there is a record of her asking for it, and it's a written record. So, you know, okay, moving on down. Just because what's funny to me is they seem to have spent so much on various things based on IMDb, and yet this is where they skimped. I mean, safety was not a priority on this set. John O'Rourke, were drugs found on set? Do you know? I don't think so. I think that if they were, that would be a really big talking point. She was not found with drugs on set. They also didn't drug test her that day. All they have is the text messages of her talking about smoking in a jacuzzi at 8 p.m. Now someone pointed out in the chat earlier today that film productions are usually like 12-hour days. I think that probably was the case in this case, but I think they started very, very, very early. Jasu says she had coke in her pocket. I don't think so. The evidence tampering charge is from her handing that off to someone else back at the hotel, is my understanding, not on set. So they don't have any evidence of her having drugs on her on set, is at least so far. So far, we haven't seen any evidence of that. Maybe that'll change. Maybe we'll encounter a witness that testifies differently, saying, hey, I saw her holding a huge bag of coke in her hand and putting it in her pocket and going into the prop cart or going into the prop truck to get ammo and put it on the prop cart. You know what I mean? Like maybe there will be that kind of testimony. But if not, I haven't heard any arguments like that. Whether at the hearing when they were talking about whether or not they should sever the evidence tampering charge from the involuntary manslaughter charge, or you know, or since then, I haven't heard anyone say anything like that. So, yeah. Thank you. Just because she was the unit production manager that was talking earlier. Yeah. Austin SA, thanks so much for the super chat. Can you crowdfund to get the paralegal to come on after the trial and say, pull the lever, Kronk? Also, am I the only one who misses what if any? What if any? Yeah, no, that's just great. Which actually, we should clarify this. Now, yesterday I said, you know, she's on the legal team. She might be a paralegal. Sometimes they allow, sometimes, you know, someone that's maybe a paralegal will be allowed at the front desk. Usually not, but sometimes. Who knows? This is New Mexico. I don't know how they do things. I said that based on how she was dressing, because I was thinking, typically, I have never seen any young female attorneys dressing like that in court, whether it's for a hearing or for a trial. Not for a hearing, certainly not for a trial. I've never seen any attorney dress like that in any courthouse that I've ever been to, and I've been to quite a few courthouses quite a few times. Never seen that. But today, at some point, she got up during one of the cross examinations, as one of the defense attorneys was cross examining, whispered in his ear. That's not a move that I would typically think that a paralegal would do. I think she's a junior attorney now at this point, which, I'll be honest, is surprising based on how she's dressed. And I don't want to throw too much shade, but her client's better dressed than her, if that's the case. So I'm I'm kind of judging her a little bit more if she's an attorney. I am judging her a bit more if she's an attorney, to be honest with you. So it's just not a professional look for an attorney, in my opinion. Granted, New Mexico is its own jurisdiction. They've got their own culture. Maybe their culture allows for it. I don't know. But I just, especially because as a young attorney, whether you're a male or a female, you know, we've talked about, you know, sexism in the profession. I mentioned it, you know, I talked about the subject in a recent video. Oh, in the Sarah Boone video that I talked about. She finally got a female attorney. That's one of those things that you can draw sexist criticism towards yourself unintentionally and without needing it. When you dress a little bit too fancy, you dress a little bit too flashy, you've got a tiara on your head. It's the kind of thing that is likely to draw in criticism and for people to discount you as a professional, where she might be a great legal mind. Maybe she was the top of her class. Maybe she was, you know, she's absolutely fantastic on strategy and she's just like on it with everything. The problem is anyone's going to look at her and not take her seriously because of the way that she's dressing. And specifically, that's exactly why I always say a courtroom is different than how you dress on the street, right? You dress in the courtroom how you want people to treat you, to respect you, assuming that they are going to come in with all kinds of judgments and biases. Don't give them any reason to discredit you before you've opened your mouth, before you've you know, like oh my gosh, this week we were just, you know, on vacation. We were talking about you know, people disrespecting other people just because they assume something about someone. And my friend said, God, what was the phrase that he said? He said, allow me to earn your disrespect. Give me a chance to earn your disrespect is what he said. When you dress a particular way that is a little too fancy for a conservative environment that is court. And when I say conservative, I don't mean politically conservative. I mean like culturally conservative. You want to dress conservatively so that you allow for people to give you the opportunity to earn their disrespect by saying something stupid, doing something stupid, failing to redact phone numbers or all this kind of stuff. The moment that you walk in and you look like you're not a lawyer, you walk in and you look like people are just going to assume that you're the paralegal or some kind of assistant or something like that. Like you are openly giving them the opportunity to close the door on you earning their disrespect. You know what I mean? So anyway, so yeah, it's I obviously have thoughts. I have thoughts. I always have thoughts on courtroom dress, and I always want to do it in a way that's still respectful. That's still like, you know, sometimes I get a little bit cattier than other times, but I'm always like trying to like put myself in their shoes. You know, like how would I want a friend to tell me that I'm messing up? But in this case, I do think that this is that's an error in judgment is to if you're the attorney, dress like a damn attorney so that people can take you seriously. Don't give them an excuse. So, yeah. That's my soapbox on the courtroom dress. So anyway, I'm trying to see if there are any other questions, and I don't see any others. Let me just make sure that there were not some that I saved and didn't get. Okay, no, I think I got all of them. All right, folks. I think that's about it. Yeah, we're going to call it early then. Oh, Brandon Graham, what was with the jury? I'm not exactly sure. That wasn't exactly clear. I thought that maybe there was a jury question, but then it's people pointed out, and this may have been correct, that the judge sounded like she was asking them to answer a question. We have no idea what it was. We never got any illumination about what the question was or what the answer was. But the judge said, we're going to call it early for today, release the jury, release the parties and all the attorneys, and was like, we're done. Happy Friday. So we're off early today. One more point on this. Pulianivis, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Can people please be respectful? This is not entirely uncommon dress in New Mexico. Well, that's the thing, is that this is my comments on this are not whether this is cool or not cool to wear, generally speaking. If she's going to dress that way walking down the street, fantastic. I love it. Do you express yourself, dress how you feel comfortable and how you want to feel yourself. The problem is when you walk into a courtroom, people have certain expectations of the people that are walking in. And when you're sitting at one of the tables, whether it's the prosecution or the defense, people are going to have an expectation of a certain level of professionalism. And that also comes across in the things that you wear. So I don't walk around. I mean, you guys know this. I don't walk around wearing a skirt suit and blazer. I have that reserved for court or like some kind of like, business casual or business functions if I ever have to go to them. But I'm on a live stream wearing sweaters or sweatshirts or, t-shirts because that's what's appropriate for being on YouTube, and that's what I'm comfortable with. And that's what I like. I would never wear any of that into a courtroom, even though that's what I prefer. I spend most of my days wearing leggings and athleisure wear and things like that. I would never, ever, ever wear that to a courtroom because that's just not appropriate for a courtroom. In terms of the appropriateness of what she's wearing, if she were anyone else in the gallery watching trial, no problem. Whatever. Do you. That's fine enough. It's not like it's revealing or anything like that. But when you're sitting at one of the tables, people have certain expectations and they're going to make certain judgments. And you don't want what you're wearing to become a distraction for your client. You also don't want the jury to be judging your client based on who's sitting next to them. And sometimes that'll happen. And you can say that's fair or not fair, but it's just a reality. So why run the risk of giving someone else the opportunity to judge your client because of how you're dressed? You know what I mean? Other than that, I don't care about what she's wearing. I don't care about her makeup. I don't care. It's fine. I actually kind of like it. But whether or not it's okay for the court, for trial, no. So, all right, folks. Thumbs up. That's about it for me for today. Like I said, this is going to redirect directly into Ian's stream, which is definitely going to be many hours from now. So that's going to go there. And if you guys are up for that, please do join. Tell them I said hi. Okay, folks. I'm going to head out. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody that has watched, whether you're watching live or on replay. If you're in the chat, thank you so much for engaging. If you're leaving comments, thank you so much. If you're leaving a like, is it going to do it? Yes. Thank you so much for liking the stream. Or if you're just lurking, thank you. Thank you nonetheless. All the folks that are super chatting, that are sending super stickers, that are buying memberships for other people, thank you, thank you, thank you. And last but not least, thank you to the mods for always helping to make sure that this stream is a pleasant one and that folks can agree or disagree, come with all kinds of different opinions. This case is rife for all kinds of hot button issues, to include firearms. I mean, that's a big subject. People definitely will differ, in a lot of different ways. Thank you to the mods for helping to make sure that everybody remains respectful, even while maintaining different opinions here. I love it. Okay. Thank you guys. I'm going to try to work on some recaps, short recaps, uploads, and things like that, so that this next week, hopefully I'll be getting into a rhythm of daily recaps after these streams, maybe uploaded the next morning. We'll see. And so keep an eye out for that. And otherwise, I'll see you guys on Monday for day 3 of this trial. All right, guys. Thank you.